Ted is going to defeat Brad Armstrong for the North American title on the same
Good
night.
guy, Brad.
Brad was phenomenal worker, and right after this, Ted is going to be defending that belt against you. So, Jim, I know that when JYD left, of course, you took his spot. You're the new top baby face in the territory. I know that you're not like a huge belt guy. You didn't really need a belt to get over. But when you took that role, were you like hoping to get a run as North American champion? Would that have meant anything to you, or was that not the objective?
No, then was especially if you've seen that North American belt, and I just happen to have one. Gonna get some noise. The North American belt, about
Doesn't look light.
80 pounds of belt. Imagine carrying this thing wherever you go every day. It's huge. It's heavy. I mean, it's a whole extra bag. So when you go trying to get by with 2 carry-on bags at the airport,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course it goes through the X-ray machine. Everybody sees it. Oh, it's a wrestling belt. You know, at 6 o'clock in the morning, you've been on the road for 30 days. You haven't had breakfast. You just want to get on the flight. Please, Gord. Are you a wrestler?
No, I just have the big belt.
Yeah, you know. But yeah, no, I joke. Some guys would wear the belt when they have sex. They were so into it. I'm the champion, honey.
Yep.
Some guys, you know, Terry Taylor. They really wanted to be champion. Was more important. The payday was the most important thing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a prop. It's just a storytelling device, right? Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, it's like how many matches have you won? You know, what's your win-loss record?
Right.
You know?
Well, one notable night when you're trying to capture, or rather, this is a non-title match, but one notable night at the Uno Langfront Arena in New Orleans, you're going to defeat Ted in a non-title taped fist match. Jim, what can you tell our audience about being in a taped fist match? What is that whole thing like?
Well, nowadays, everybody, I mean, you look at CM Punk, right? And guys like that, they tape up from their knees to their, we got tape around their ears. I mean, they got tape everywhere, you know. And the first thing I say is the company's buying their tape.
It gotta be.
Because back in the day, the boys had to buy their own tape. They're like, can I borrow some tape? Yeah. Take my wife, leave my tape alone. What the hell? Borrowing some tape. Borrowing some tape off somebody back in the day was a big deal. Because tape's expensive, you know, and now these guys are, but of course it added a lot to the visuals. And you know, when we have tape fists, I taped all the way up to my forearms to make it look better. And then of course, when you get juice, if you're going to have a tape fist match, you're going to get some sauce. And so the blood really shows up good on the tape, you know, the white tape and the red blood. But I remember this match because, you know, Ted always joked about how much I hate to get juice, you know, because, you know, everything hurts. But I just felt I was desecrating my body to take a razor blade and drag it across my forehead and have blood pump out of my head. I'm like, yeah, that hurts, but that just doesn't seem like a real thing to do. But anyway, so DiBiase is like, yeah, Duggan gets juice like this. He's busting my chops about never getting juice. So now we're in this tape fist match. And so I go ahead and boom, I hit a good one, man. And I'm working with it. I go, how's it going? And he goes, it ain't coming at all, hacker. So boom, boom, we wrestle a little more. Boom, I hit it again, you know. And, Jesus, heck, it's not coming, Hacksaw. I'm like, in. It's coming a little bit, shit, you know. But the fourth time I did it, I looked down like I'm ankle deep in blood. DiBiase's like, no, get some more. You don't got enough. Tried to get an infusion. I went back there like,
what a rib.
You don't never ask your opponent if you got enough sauce. So you got to get more, brother. But I tell you, no matter how hot the crowd is, man, the crowd is, they're rabid. You pop the juice, boom, it's a whole different level, man. I mean, yeah, they come, especially back in Mid-South. And of course, we talked about it. That was before sports entertainment. You know, they believed it. You're really beating up. You're beating up Ricky Morton, you son of a bitch. I'll come. I'll help you, Ricky. I'm coming. And Steve Williams would be on the ring. Boom, down one. Boom, down two.
You'd think that would scare
He'd
most
be
people
picking
away.
them off ringside. Yeah, but most people are usually drunk. They get tied up in the ropes. They're trying to get through the ropes. As you know, getting through the ropes is harder than it looks, right?
Yep.
People usually get tied up in the ropes, you know.
What a lot of
But
fans forget when they hit the ring too is like, okay, for you to get through the ropes, you've either got to come under the bottom rope or you got to stick your head between the top and middle rope.
yeah. So you're foot level,
Yep,
or
that's
you
an
get your
easy
noggin
way.
sticking through.
Yep. It's a good way
Yeah.
to catch a
I
knee
tell you,
right in
here's
the face.
a quick story. When I was a heel, and I was working over, I think it was Ricky Morton, maybe. Anyway, I was in Houston, and all of a sudden, boom! I get hit in the back of the head. Wham! And I spin around. There's this big, tall, skinny kid with a cowboy hat on, and he's like dancing around. He's dancing around. I was like, ah, boom! I hit him. He goes down. The security, they got him by the legs, you know, and they're trying to pull him out of the ring. But I'm a bad guy. I got him. I'm like, no, he's in here with me now. Yeah. And then everybody's coming to help him, man. I mean, the wrestling riot, I mean, people don't realize a wrestling riot wasn't that unheard of back in the day. Yeah, they'd come in the ring with you. You'd fight your way back to the dressing room. People would throw rocks at you. I mean, it was dangerous.
Gotta be scary being in the middle of all those people, especially as a heel when like they want to kill you.
When they're really that hot at you, sure. I'll tell you a quick one about Dog.
Yeah.
Working with Dog in New Orleans, right? I got Dog down, and I think it was when we did the Ritter when he did the mask, right?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so I'm getting the
Heavily.
heat on Dog, and the place is getting hotter and hotter, and I'm working Dog over now. You know, one or two people are trying to get in the ring, and security's pulling them off, and Dog's like, "Get some more heat, Hacksaw." I'm like, bullshit, brother. Make your comeback. Start kicking my ass.
That's the only thing that's gonna settle these people
Because
down.
back then, now if you think about it, if you're the heel and you're beating the hell out of the baby face, the people will come to help the baby face. They want to help the baby face. But the baby face starts kicking ass, everybody steps back. That's right, kick his ass. Go ahead, beat him. And so you beat my ass all the way back to the dressing room. You get back
Man,
there, thank God.
a different. Do you think that a wrestling riot is even possible in modern wrestling?
Not in that capacity. They might be hot about a finish, but there's just not that heat anymore. You know, Kamala, one man gang. They're one of the last people, excuse me, that would come down to the ring, and kids would run away from the ring. You know, no matter who the heel is, they come to the ring. Everybody runs to the ring. People were scared of one man gang. People were scared of Kamala. I mean, it was a different business.
Now, you brought up
Back in the day, WWE with Akeem, but
yeah, that was
back
that was
when
a.
Mid-South, they were worried about him.
Now, you had brought up how bleeding it's kind of like a prerequisite in a tape fist match, and I talked to Jake about this subject recently. I've never talked to you about it, and it's something I'm really curious about. So
Should be interesting.
yeah, as a reminder for listeners, this is the mid '80s, and the world was in a little bit of a panic over the AIDS epidemic. And I mentioned that to ask Jim. You know, wrestlers had a reputation during this time for meeting a lot of women, experimenting with drugs, using needles for steroids, etc. And here you guys are, night after night, sometimes bleeding on each other in the ring. Jim, at any point, did you find yourself concerned about the AIDS epidemic and all the blood?
You know, not too much back then, but later on in my career, I got more worried about it. Of course, there was a hepatitis thing going around. So, yeah, I became more aware of it. Back then, you know, it's not going to happen to me. That's the mentality, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm indestructible. It ain't going to happen to me. Yeah. Young and
Just
dumb, right? But,
yeah.
yeah, and dodge the bullet there with, and kids, you know, a lot of guys have kids scattered all over the country, you know.
Yeah.
That thing, you know, I got my two girls with Deborah. That's it. Yeah.
Man, it's just part of being young. You just don't really think about the possible consequences during that
And
time.
it's out there. I mean, because you think about it, if you're on the road a whole bunch and you're traveling, you're out in front of thousands of people, you got the crowd rocking and everything. You go back to your hotel room, you're sitting in your hotel room. Maybe I'll go down to the bar. You go down to the bar. Woo, yeah, oh, here's an 8-ball. You want to bang my old lady? I mean, well, well, you don't watch.
Not to mention, yeah, it's like I said, guys didn't really know much about it, so they were like swapping needles for steroids and stuff like that. Like
Well, I
just a
know about
crazy.
swapping the needles for steroids. Of course, I never was a big gas guy. I mean, we're talking about that early. The gas
Yes.
guy, a size 20 ring, you can pretty much fit on a bottle.
Incredible, Jim.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I'm not a big guy. I mean, there's guys a lot, but like I said, size. A lot of guys were puffed up real big, man.
Well, I know when I met you, I felt like your hand wrapped around mine twice whenever we shook hands.
Imagine Andre.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, unbelievable.
That's right. It's all relative. People here, even back when I was 6'3", wrestled 275, 280 most of my career. And people are like, "Oh, you're a big guy." I'm like, "No, you should see the big guys. They're really, really big." And of course, if there's a giant from the Big Show to Vader to Andre to Kali, they're like, "Duggan, get your 2x4. Come on." If there's a giant, I got to wrestle every giant there is, as you get a beanstalk.
You really were in there with every big guy. I wonder why they. It must have been the Andre feud, right? Where they were just like, "Well, Jim really nailed it with Andre. Let's put him in there with every other giant."
Yeah, because I fought him back. I wasn't intimidated. I look at it now. I'm like, Jesus, what the hell was I thinking? I have a death wish or what? But back then, I'm like, yeah, eat me, Andre. Go ahead and eat me. It felt like that Men in Black thing, right? But yeah, and I enjoyed working with bigger guys. I did. Like I said earlier when we talked about it, as a big man, as a baby face, it's easier to work with a bigger heel. It's easier to get that sympathy.
Yes.
Instead, you're working with, Shawn Michaels, and Shawn's beating you up. They're like, well, hit him back, Hacksaw. Where if you got Andre or the Big Show choking you, they're like, they're killing him.
Now that's okay. Now it's coming together a little bit more for me because I'm like, why were they putting Jim with so many big guys? It's because you were a big guy yourself, but you're one of the top baby faces. So they're like, well, we got to get him some sympathy
Get him
somehow.
in there with it was easier for me to work with bigger guys. Yeah, because I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't a real wrestler. Sean and Brett and those guys were wrestling, and I can go in there with Andre and One Man Gang and the Big Show and battle. And Andre, if you didn't fight Andre back, he got pissed off. He would swallow you. So yeah, you had to come on Andre. And I had a great rapport with Andre. One day I have to take you. I got a ring-worn Andre singlet in a frame back here with my picture looking up at him like this. He's looking down at me. One of my favorite collectibles. But it was an honor to be in the ring with Andre. But I enjoy, like I said, working with big guys, and even the Big Show. I worked with the Big Show a lot. Kali, I worked with Kali a little bit. Yeah, there was a big guy. What was his name? Corin.
What are you asking about?
Canadian guy, great big guy. He was in Sherlock Holmes movie. He just wrestled for a while.
Kurgan.
What was his name?
Kurgan.
Yeah. I met him at a Comic-Con. He was a great guy. He was a really nice guy. But yeah, I had to wrestle him too. They're a giant. They're like, pull Duggan out of retirement. He'll wrestle him. Get Mikey.